welcome to the We'll Read for Feels podcast. I'm Liana,
I'm Anne.
And I'm Marian.
and we're the three bloggers behind We'll Read for Feels. Now, we haven't had a podcast in a while, but that's because we've been really busy, and it's been hard to put our schedules together. And now we have some interesting new developments for the blog that we're going to talk about in a moment. But just wanted to start things off by saying Happy New Year. And it's our first, we recently celebrated quietly our first anniversary as a blog. So yay, we'll read for feels.
Yay.
One year old. We started on January
January
12th of 2015. And so now we're officially 1 year old
Yes.
and a few weeks. But and things are changing up. When we started out, I'm just gonna go right on ahead, and we started out. There still is right now three of us, but we're soon going to be losing Anne, and then maybe after the first quarter, Marian, because they have things going
We
on
will
in their
explain
lives
it
and
in
that we're going to
the
talk about
details. Yeah.
later. But for now, we were thinking we'd celebrate the first year
Year.
of blogging
Yeah.
by talking about the things that we've learned in 12 months of being book bloggers.
Yeah.
So, who wants to start?
Probably me.
Okay.
Well, initially I started 2015 with a goal of 100 books in Goodreads, but I did not. I wasn't able to finish. I wasn't able to even reach half 50 books, but I was able to read 49, and I think that's a huge accomplishment for me, given that I have a lot of things to juggle, work related and outside work as well. Throughout the entire year that we put up the blog and we read a lot of books. I've learned that I think romance is still a big genre for me to read. I still read a lot of romances, but as most of you know, if you've been following our blog, I'm basically the person who reads a lot of Filipino authored books here in the blog, and I really enjoy doing that because I think that aside from supporting our local authors, I enjoy reading about Filipino experiences, the setting, the different kinds of situations that each Filipino character would go into, and not just romances, but I've also read a couple of fantasy and other genres, but they're penned by Filipino authors, and I think that there's a lot of things going on in that space, and I'm very excited that this year there are a lot more Filipinos coming out of the woodwork to get their stories out there, and I think that even if I may not be active in the blog or may not be part of the blog in this year, I'd still be reading a lot of these books, and because this is really something I'm passionate about and I enjoy doing it. So yeah, it's pretty much one of the big learnings that I had for 2015. What about you, Marian?
Okay, so for me, I I guess yeah, I also set like a target on Goodreads about the number of books. But for me, the main thing was really to explore different genres because if you guys have noticed, I usually write I usually review like new adult books, contemporary romances, and then through the course of the year, since I've been reading a lot of that kind of stories, I realized that a lot of them kind of have the same plot. So I'm like more interested in reading other genres as well. Like I really love new adult books that have elements of like suspense, some fantasy in it because it changes it up a bit. And then now I'm really going more into like nonfiction. So that's what I enjoyed. I mean, I think I realize now when you read something and then you just read it for pleasure and you don't think about reviewing it. You just read it quickly and then you don't think about it so much. But when you have to review it, that's when you think, okay, what can I compare this to? Where have I seen this plot before? I don't know if you guys feel that way too, but So you get to comparing things, and then get to see that, okay, this kind of sounds like this, and then when I read my reviews, okay, these kind of sound similar. So I think now it's really learning to appreciate other genres. But I really loved getting to know indie authors, because that's the nice thing about having authors like approach us or joining book tours. It's like we get to explore books, genres, writing by people we haven't really known before, and some of them have become pretty good friends of ours. So that's what I really loved about the experience, and also getting to meet authors. We did like the hosting for
For
Mina's book
launch,
launch, and then we got to attend the bloggers forum for E. Lockhart and for Colleen Hoover. So those are like huge highlights for me for the year. And yeah, it was a really, really good learning experience. And definitely, even when I stop contributing to Will Read for Fields, I will still be reading a lot and reviewing them on Goodreads. So yeah, you can look for that later on. And to our main
the last
Remaining-
person
Yeah.
standing.
Yeah.
Well, if we're talking Goodreads goals, I set my goal at 250 last year, and I did meet that. Um, I actually barely met it if you're counting new books read, because which is what I did. Probably plus 100 if we're talking about rereads, because I do reread books a lot. But I didn't count them um, because I just wanted to see how many new books and new authors I read, which was quite a lot. And like Marian said, finding new authors to read was awesome. And then what I really appreciated was reading both of your recommendations, because I hadn't actually read a lot of, like, I had read some Filipino books, um, but it was in the past, but it was more hit or miss. So like being able to rely on your and recommendations, especially since like privately you would tell me, I think this is up your alley, or I think this might not be the thing for you. That really helped me figure out which Filipino writers I wanted to follow. And then Marian, thank you so much for Colleen Hoover, who because I started out the year last year being thoroughly frustrated with new adult as a genre, and like even though I can still say that contemporary romance is one of the genres I don't read a lot of, it's significantly increased. Like the number of books I read from that genre significantly increased because of Marian's recommendations and because of Anne's Tessa Bailey
Yeah.
obsession. But yes, I do notice that I'm noticing a lot more. I'm asking myself a lot more. Where did I see this? Who is this character like? So just late last year, I discovered this Regency romance author named Shayna Gillen. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. But one of her recent novels featured a plot that was very like the Disney movie Tangled, which I loved, and which even had that scene where the heroine is telling these random people she meets in a bar, or in a thieves den or whatever, um, about her dream to go someplace in London, and how the hero is the one who's taking her there. So and that convinces them to let the hero go, even though there's a contract out on his head. So it was really fun, like being able to make those connections, not just to other books, but also to movies, and sometimes even real life, uncomfortably. But yeah, and then I found that I actually slow down my reading speed when I read with the intent of reviewing, and then sometimes if I read a book and I decide I just have to review it, I'll read it twice, sometimes in the same day, um, so that I can review it also. But I didn't used to use a lot of the features on my Kindle app, like highlighting
The
and
dictionary.
or
I don't need dictionary.
yeah, I didn't really need the dictionary, but like I didn't used to pay attention to the underlines that other people highlighted,
Yeah.
and now I kind of do because I'm like, what makes people highlight this
Uh-huh.
this part, and um, that was a new thing for me. Just new ways to think about why I read what I read and what I enjoy. Like I know much better now what I enjoy and why I enjoy it and what I don't like and why I don't like it. So I feel like coming into as a reader and as a writer even, because obviously as a writer like we're all writers here, so like you write what you want to read, right?
Mhm.
So it makes me feel like when I start writing again, well, I actually am writing something right now, but um, it it is easier for me to decide what to do with my plot, with my characters, based on what I don't like and what I like, which was kind of hard for me before. So, yeah. Any other awesomeness for the year?
Mm, that's pretty much it for me.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
We
okay.
talked a lot about it, but yeah, we don't
All
want to bore you
right.
guys.
So, what I want to know is, and this is effectively your last thing for the podcast, and Marian's gonna stay with us until March, right?
Yes.
Until March. So, what? I'm assuming you guys are moving on to bigger, better things. So maybe we'll start with Anne
Okay.
as to what we can expect from you.
Well, as I mentioned at the start of this podcast, that and I think Marian has experienced this as well, and you as well. We've been really deluged with a lot of personal stuff that has something to do with work, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. And well, aside from me being busy with the things that I do to earn a living, I'm also wanting to focus more. I want to focus more on my writing thing. I actually write fiction because well, we do love to read a good fiction novel. And right now, I'm actually writing the second novella to the first book that I wrote last year. It's an urban fantasy novella about Philippine mythology and Philippine pantheons that I really, really love to do. And I'm actually in the almost done with it. The first draft, it just took me a lot of time to really weed out the procrastination. And over the holidays, when we take our holidays seriously here in the Philippines. I'm not kidding, and
Oh yeah.
that's why I had to put a stop or put on hold all of my writing things. But this year, this January, I've been trying to pick it up. It's not an easy thing to do, after months or like weeks of not writing anything, and then you have to pick it up again. It's taking a bit of time, but I'm really happy that there's been progress, and I really want to focus on that right now. But that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna read any more books. As I mentioned, I'm still gonna be reading, and I'm gonna be posting my reviews on my Goodreads page and even on Amazon. I still want to pursue that passion that I've been mentioning about supporting and reading more Filipino authored books. And not just Filipino authored books, but basically the authors that I really love to read about and discover new indie authors. Like you guys mentioned, it's really a great thing for uh, personally for me as a reader to discover a new author to follow and have a new book to really be excited about and put that everything all into the mix. And that's a lot of thing a lot of thing on my hands. And um, I know that you guys are gonna be in good hands with Diana, as she has been like a force to be reckoned with this blog. I mean, the both of us, she can do everything. But it was really a great year for me, joining Will Read for Feels, putting up a book blog with two great friends here who are actually very good um, uh, writers and are well read readers as well. And I've learned a lot from both of them. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm gonna do for this year, and hopefully you would still continue to follow and support Will Read for Feels with Diana and Marian on board.
Okay, but where can we find out
Oh.
about what's going on with you?
I have a personal website. It's anplaza.com. It's actually my author blog. Yeah, I'm author. Please be nice to me. Anyway, yeah, anplaza.com. I also have a Facebook page, Anplaza 2013, and I also have a Twitter page at Anplaza. So it's not very difficult to find me. So please do drop by my social media channels. I would like to update people, the people who follow me, with what happens in my writing space. And this year, I'm gonna be kicking off a couple of promotions with the book that I'm writing about, and a couple more other things that I'm working on with projects with other Filipino authors as well.
Awesome.
All right, Marian. Well, you'll still be with us till March, but foreseeably this will be the last
Yes.
group podcast that we'll do because our schedules are really
Yes.
crazy. So why we'll ask where you're going to be going from here.
Okay, so for me, actually, last year when we started out the blog, I was a freelance writer, and then that meant that I had more time to like to juggle different things. And then mid-year, I went into a full-time job, which I'm still with now, and then I have a different role now. So I'm really still learning the ropes, which involves a lot of like reading nonfiction and talking to different people. So I think I really want to focus on that one so I can develop at least my skills moving forward in my career. And then there's also my travel. I don't know. I've been talking about travel when I write about when I review books. I always if if it involves like different places, I talk about like how I want to visit this place. So like this year, I've had I've had plans of going around for a couple of years now, but this year I really want to make that happen. So I'll be gone, I hope, for a certain amount of time. And you can look for my pictures if you're on Instagram. Look for them under Instagram/marbart06. So you can look at my pictures there. I also have a personal blog. It's not so updated right now. Hopefully, later on when I have more time, I really want to start, I don't know, posting more things, especially while I'm traveling, and even maybe posting book reviews there if they involve some aspect of travel. So that's wonderrightnow.com. But as Liana mentioned earlier, I'll still be writing for Will Read for Feels until March. So you can still see some like new adult. Later on, I think we're gonna be transitioning out of the new adult, or at least I don't know. Will we be keeping some new adult
Yeah.
or
Maybe from
contemporary?
time to time,
Yeah.
maybe just not as frequently as it's still I will admit not one of my favorite genres, but I do have it on my personal goals list for the year to read more contemporary romance because as you may have noticed, read a lot of fantasy and I read a lot of historical romance and suspense as well. Um, but when it comes to contemporary, if there's no murder happening, sometimes I will be like, do I really want to read this? Um, but I'm planning to like up my numbers in that genre this year. So
K.A. Tucker. K.A. Tucker.
Yeah. Her books
Yeah.
are here, right?
Yes.
It's in
I
the
have
local
I
bookstore.
have bought them and they're on my list.
Okay.
It's just that
She has to read them.
I haven't read them yet. So soon. I guess I'll start with that. Maybe. Well, my TBR list is pretty much full until end of Feb. So around the time you'll be leaving, that's
Yeah.
probably the time I'll be reading more contemporary. But we still have a lot of plans for the blog. I'm hoping to approach writers to do, well, since we're based in the Philippines, I'm hoping that writers will be willing to do video calls so that we can do interviews and chat with writers about their plans and about their latest books. And also, I'll probably be doing videos on my own with lists and other exciting things, plus covering the local book events here as well. Okay, and I've told Marian and Anne to both let me know if there's something they feel I need to read. But keep following us. keep checking out www.willreadforfeels.com and follow us on Twitter. That's will read number 4 feels. So will read for feels. And we also have a Facebook page. That's just facebook.com/will read for feels. And guys, the feels continue.
Yes.
Yes, don't forget. Don't still continue to
Yeah.
follow us. We're still here. I mean, Yana's gonna be here, but we're still gonna be there to support her. And if she mentioned recommendations, right? So definitely be throwing her a couple of more books to read. So please do.
And with
continue.
Anne gone, does that mean that I can start reviewing her books?
Maybe you guys have to watch out for that.
So yeah, watch this space, guys.
Yeah,
There's bigger, better things happening for everybody this year.
Yes. Thanks for joining us and see you soon.